and I give you overall life advice. If any of that interests you, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell so that you're aware when I post a brand new video. Feminine women do not deal with jealous, envious, wicked spirits. Let's get into it deeper because I've posted a video about jealousy, and some people, while many of you received that so well, and I'm so glad that you found value in it, some people don't understand how deep seated that root of jealousy and envy can be, and why it's important to protect yourself. As a woman, it's not that you think that you're so high up that everybody is jealous of you. As wise women, you have to understand that sometimes it's not anything that you might be doing per se. It might not be that you are conceited. It might not be that you are provoking somebody to be jealous. If you are a confident, unbothered woman, if you are a woman who is essentially just living her life, minding her business, drinking her water, you will attract both good and bad attention from people who have a jealous, envious spirit. So it's not about thinking that, you're better than someone, or you're being arrogant, you're being proud, you're being prideful. It's none of that. You can be living a very humble existence and people will still find reason to be jealous of you. You could be, working in a retail store, but because you're happy, there will be people who are jealous of you. I loved your recent videos. Thank you, dear. You are very welcome, and I'm so glad that you're here. Yeah, I'm just on because I really want to give clarification on the fact that you don't have to be the type of woman that's walking around, acting like you're so much better than someone. You can be the average woman, which most women are. You're just the average woman. But if you have a mindset and a personality and character that is classy, that is gracious, you are an elegant woman, you carry yourself with elegance and grace. And what I mean by that is that you have common decency. You understand things like decorum and true etiquette and time and place. You don't feel the need to be the type of woman who makes a show and a spectacle of herself. You have a standard for how you are as a woman. You know how to carry yourself as a woman. You see, when you're talking about jealousy, it has less to do with what you own as far as clothing, cars, land, all of that stuff. Yes, people can be jealous of that kind of thing. However, the opportunities that we have available to us right now as women, as people, if people work hard enough, they can get nice cars, they can get nice clothes, they can do all of that. It's deeper than that. When somebody is jealous of you, normally it's those things that they have no control over. It is the way you are as a person. It's just you. And if you don't understand that sometimes people might not like the favor you have with other people, some people are actually so miserable that they don't like the fact that other people like you. You have to think about that. And I made this video, the previous video, about how to protect yourself from secretly jealous women because I have lived that. I have been around people who have dealt with that. I have witnessed that in my own life. And if you just walk around, because contrary to popular belief, being a feminine woman does not mean that you walk around clueless, like everybody is your friend, everything is wonderful, everything is just, whimsical and magical. While we have that way about us, we're not paranoid. And somebody put in a comment, and this, I really want you to get it. Having an awareness and being worried about something is two different things. You can be aware of something without worrying about it. And those of you who put comments put scriptures in the comments, I want you to understand that I am a Christian and I know what the scripture says, and it says much about jealousy and envy. It calls it a wicked and demonic spirit. So to say things as if We should, one person put in the comment section, when you're just focusing on God, when you have a relationship with Jesus, you don't focus on men, you don't focus on that. Well, actually, in the scripture, it says the married person or the married man, he minds the things of the world. That means he has to give thought to whether or not his wife is happy, and it's vice versa. You have to focus on your husband if you are a married woman. And I give that example for the people who wanted to get hyper spiritual. Jesus talks all throughout the scripture. In the word, it's written about how the enemies of your own household will be your family members. It says daughter-in-law will be against mother, father against son, all of that. So when you say things like, oh, we just shouldn't worry about these kind of things, it's not worry, it's being aware. And last scripture, I promise you, it even says, be sober minded, because the enemy roars around like a roaring lion looking at who he can devour. How can you do that if you're not aware of the enemy's schemes and tactics? So, back to jealousy and envy. I just wanted to lay the groundwork so that you understand that there's a difference between worrying about certain things and having an awareness. If more women were aware of the spirit that they entertain, whether it be jealous women, whether it be, dusty men that mean them no good, whether it be bad employment, whether it be bad neighborhoods, whatever it might be, you have to be aware of these things. That is a part of being a wise woman. We have to be more than just our looks. Our looks are very important. I will never say neglect that. However, you can't just be a shell. You can't be walking around just going with the flow of things and assuming that everybody has your best interests at heart. That's not God. And especially when you have decided to level up in your life. And when I say level up, I don't mean in the superficial way that you see it thrown around YouTube and the internet alike. I mean, when you decide to level up spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, whatever your level up is, whenever you decide to do better, you're going to have people that are not going to like that, whether you say it or not. And the more you're aware of that, the more you can protect yourself. And it has nothing to do with lacking faith and not focusing on God. You know for a fact, any of you who are spiritual, you could be focusing on God, and you'll get in your car and somebody will cut you off. And now the Holy Spirit has left you because you've taken over, because you're pissed off because somebody cut you off. The point being, we're constantly getting tested in life. And if you're aware of these things, you're not so taken aback when these things happen, and you don't fall into the traps that people set up for you. And that's going back into the jealousy and envy piece. Now, I am a girl's girl. I love women. And I wish that we could all just be an amazingly huge, powerful sisterhood. But unfortunately, it doesn't operate that way. And I don't think they will look for ways to bring your spirit down and frustrate you. I'm on the road as we speak. Is that the trucker, Gal Martisha? Hey, girl. If you're on the road, pay attention to the road. I want you to be safe. But yes, people will say, they try to put little pinpricks of doubt into you and try to get you to second guess your life, second guess your choices. And I'm not saying that you don't take sound advice, sound wisdom from people you can trust. None of us are above instruction or correction or help, but you have to be mindful of who's giving you that. Hey, present moment, yes, drive safe, please. But you have to be mindful of that, because people will come along and they'll try to, especially when you're doing good or you're doing the best you can, or you feel like you're going in the right direction, it will always be someone to come along to try to distract you and set you back in some way. You could be thinking on a more like minor level. You could really start, you weren't a woman who was so confident, and now you're feeling really good about yourself. You feel like you look good, you're acting good, you smell good, you feel comfortable with everything in your life. And all of a sudden, somebody will come along and say something to you, and in that moment, you're going to have to decide, am I mentally strong enough to still feel good about myself? regardless of what they just said, do I still feel about me like I felt 5 minutes before they said what they said? Do I still feel about myself the way I felt about my relationship before they made that little comment? These are the kind of things that as women we deal with. It's a lot of, combating intrusive thoughts, combating, snide remarks from other people, a lot of, shady type of comments, and a lot of, interactions with people that you just know and you can feel the energy is off. And in that moment, you have to decide as a woman, I'm not going to take this to heart. And part of that is learning how not to take everything personal. What's the sense in it? What's the sense in what? When you learn how not to take everything personally, that's how you can, the first way you can combat somebody who has that jealous, envious, mean type of spirit. The way I see things, if someone doesn't know me, if they don't know me personally, I've never had any kind of interaction with you other than maybe a brief interaction, anything you say or how you act doesn't matter to me. Now, I might be a little different, and I ask God to help me to not be, how can I say, like, I don't want to be cold hearted. And when I say cold hearted, I don't mean as in mistreat people. I mean cold hearted as in sometimes I'm in that mode where I just truly don't care about what you're saying or what you're doing. Like, I think earlier on in my life, and this is a little bit of transparency, I had been through so much before the age of 17. I've dealt with so many, people who were not the best. I'm not going to throw out insults, but they were not the best type of people. And because of that, I developed a really thick skin. I developed a thick skin and a mindset that said, you know what? I know that people like that are out there. And because of that, I have to act this way. I have to be this way. And that's where that more stern, masculine kind of posture came about for me earlier on. And I'm glad that that part has left me, but I still very much have that mindset to be aware of when I'm dealing with a snake. And since I brought up masculinity, another thing I want to clarify, while we understand that just because a man is masculine or a person is masculine, that doesn't mean that they're mean. That doesn't mean that they're abrasive. But you have to understand, and I understand in this spirit of confusion world we live in, many people are not clear on the nature of man and woman. It is a man's nature to be more on the defensive. It is a man's nature to be more demanding of respect. Whereas for a woman, we are worthy of respect, but we don't always demand it. And you can see that. Come on, if I'm being real with you all, and I hope you all can receive this kind of being realism here. If you be real with yourselves, a lot of times women don't command the type of respect that they actually should be getting. And you can tell that by the things they tolerate in their lives, by the kind of relationships they accept. And I say this to say, while being mean, being, overly aggressive and all these things, it might not be an actual trait of masculinity, but men are more likely to always have their ego up. If they feel any sign of disrespect, they're calling it out. They're not as nurturing as us. And I think it's very sad that in today's world, we have to explain the difference between man and woman. And I've been married for almost 19 years. I was raised with my father. I have two brothers. So I think I have a little bit of knowledge on the fact that men and women are different. And I say that because, once again, I've seen comments saying that, oh, just because, what did they say? Just because you are more aggressive or something, that doesn't mean you're masculine. Well, aggression is a trait of masculinity. Remember, men, and going back to spiritual, God told Adam, you're going to work at the sweat of your brow. He didn't give that command to the woman. He gave it to the man. And when you're talking about working at the sweat of your brow, that's hard labor. That's hard work, which might require you to be a little bit aggressive in nature, to be a little bit powerful. That's not a trait of a woman naturally. Can we be that way? Of course, because I know for myself, sometimes I can be very bold in how I'm speaking, even how I'm speaking now. But you have to understand that the overall nature and design of how man and woman is very different from one another. And the reason why people are confused on this, and this is a little bit of a sidebar from jealousy and envy, the reason why people are confused on this is because women are out of balance. Women have become more manly and masculine for reasons that they had control over and some reasons that they did not. But I just want to clarify that. I understand that some of the things I talk about as far as masculine, feminine, yes, they can translate over to man and woman, but this is called All Things Women. I focus on us here, okay? But back to jealousy and envy. As women, we have to be wise and recognize when we are in the midst of snakes, all right? Allow me one moment while I sip my tea. If you have any comments about the recent video or just about the channel or any feedback or anything you want to say, please leave it in the comment section. If you have questions in regards to anything, leave it in the comments and I'll try my best to answer. And this is not going to be a long live, so any questions you might have or any topics of interest you want me to cover, please leave it in the comments. I appreciate it. I know here in the United States, it is the summertime. I hope everybody's enjoying their summer. I'm more of a fall baby. I was born in September, so I love autumn. I love the fall. So that's what I'm preparing for. At this point, summer can go away. But I hope everybody's enjoying their summer. But yes, as women, that jealousy and that envy, as I was saying, it will rear its ugly head the better you do in life. Now, if you're not trying to do anything with your life, oh, Hubs. Was that him? Because I don't see it. I'm sorry. I know I should not be answering my text. Hello. Okay. Hello. I'm so sorry. I have to answer my Hubs. But I know, I know that when you're not trying to do anything in life, nobody's going to come for you. Are you Michelle Obama? I will take that as high praise. And no, I'm not, but I'll take that. But as women, once again, I promise you I'm going to finish my thought. We have to be mindful of the spirit of jealousy and envy. Now, if you were the type of woman, if you're not trying to accomplish anything, and this is one thing you have to really pay attention to, and you will really know if people are really your friends or not. If they like you when you're just hanging out, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a woman of leisure or just, you have downtime, because that is the kind of woman I am essentially. I work, but I love just my me time. I love relaxing. I love, hard labor is not for me. Constantly being busy doing things is not for me. So when I say hanging out, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you don't have any goals for yourself, as in moving forward in life mentally, like intrinsic value. If you're not looking to work on your self-development as a woman, if the way you thought when you was in high school is the same way you think now, people will more than likely love you all the time. You probably won't have any issues with the people that you came up with, old friends. You probably won't have any issues with those people. You probably won't have any issues with those kind of people, because you are essentially the same that you were when you were in high school. If you have the same childlike mindset, you kind of look at everybody else as if they're doing something wrong because they're trying to move forward in life, and I say these things because I dealt with that stuff. As long as I was still in that same kind of surrounding, as long as I was still in that same kind of surrounding and I was dealing with people who were, accustomed to me being more just quiet, not really saying much, just pretty much letting them say and do whatever they want. Not so much do, but I really wouldn't speak up on too many things, or I really wouldn't, try to get in the way much, not let myself be seen. But as my confidence grew, thank you, Tammy. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're finding value in the channel. If you have any questions or anything, or you have a topic of suggestion, leave it in the comment section. But as I was saying, I joined late. What are we talking about? Gus, if you're a man, then you can continue to be here, but I'm not getting into the explanation because this is all things woman. But as I was saying, as long as you are not trying to change your life. And for me, when I was younger, I was around a lot of women who were obnoxious, overbearing. When you're more reserved, I was more of an introverted person. So because of that, I was kind of quiet, and I allowed them to overtalk me. I allowed them to sometimes, I would catch on to some of the things that they would say, which I knew they were trying to be smart, by some of the comments they were saying, but I couldn't say anything because I just, had that, it's just me. And I think I was like 15, 16, 14, like my later teen years. But as I began to grow and develop and understand, that's not okay. And then, let's be real, as ladies, sometimes we let people who do nothing scrutinize us the most. Sometimes, and this is not like a judgment, like you're trying to say you're better than somebody, but if somebody is coming for you and they're not doing anything with their life, if somebody is coming for you and they are essentially doing less than you, which is fine. Everybody's life is different. If some people don't have goals, don't have ambition, don't have dreams, which is fine, just don't come for me. Don't say mind your business. Focus on yourself. And I think that's where the whole jealousy and envy comes in, because women especially don't really understand how to just mind their business and focus on themselves. See, women who have a jealous, envious spirit, instead of them working on being the type of woman that they think you are or wish to become, they will scrutinize your life and try to get you to backtrack in order to put you at the same level as them, opposed to trying to come up to the level where they think you are. And sometimes you're not even the type of person that they think you are. I actually had a family member, I forget what the little conversation slash argument was about, and they made this comment saying, ain't nobody Oprah in this family. And at that time, I was working in banking. So I knew that that comment was directed at me. We were having the little discussion slash argument, and they said, oh, nobody in this family is Oprah. So what are you trying to say? So because I have a standard, because I'm telling you that I feel a certain way about something, you decide to hit it what I do for a living and say nobody's Oprah. Like little things like that. They just take those little pot shots and try to make like forgive me for having a decent job. Forgive me for caring about the well-being of my family and my children, that I will want to do something with myself. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. Love you, beautiful. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm glad that you're here. So it's like that little kind of thing where people just, half the time they take pot shots at things they really don't understand. Like if people understood, especially people who are jealous, a lot of times they're jealous because it appears that whatever you have, you got it easy. But many people don't see what you had to go through, and not saying that you essentially have to go through anything to be blessed, because God can bless whoever he wants to. He'll show mercy on who he wants to. But a lot of times people don't want to go through the process. They just want to take from whatever you have, or they want you to somehow feel bad about appearing to have more. $1 million smile. You're sweet. Thank you. So, and I say this as a woman who is not a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not rich. I'm living a comfortable existence as of right now. And I'm hoping it'll continue to escalate, but a comfortable existence. And I have dealt with these kind of things. The women, unfortunately, who we have seen had horrific incidents happen to them. It's because they opened their mouths too soon to the wrong people. You see, and I know some people might not like this, but I'm the kind of person that's like, forget where you came from. Not don't forget where you came from, forget where you came from. Yes, I said it. I don't mean you can't care about the people. I don't mean you can't remember that you were born in a certain place. I mean, when God blesses you and you start doing well in life, you cannot go back to the same thing. And forgive me if I get a little churchy. You can't go back to the same thing that you've been delivered from. I believe in that because the things I went through and the people that I was around, and this is just a little bit of my story, just so you understand that I'm not just talking just to be talking here, as my dad would say. The type of people that I was around and the kind of things I put up with when I met my husband, and that essentially came about from me working in a different state. I got around people who were more at peace, more at ease, black people who were actually coexisting without arguing, fussing, fighting, drinking. They were actually like enjoying each other's company. They would have game nights. I'm like, black people do stuff like this? I'm being real with you because what I was around was the constant fighting over nothing, the constant arguing, people talking about, oh, you think you're doing this or you should be doing this. Why can't you do this for them? It was always give me something. Never people working together to make something work. Or it was the same people just hanging around doing nothing. And when you come back from work, they're still outside doing nothing. But then when I came into a different state, I met my husband. I knew that, wow, there are different types of men. There are different types of mother-daughter relationships. Like she actually likes her mom. They're actually spending time together. I say this to say that sometimes your environment is what's holding you back from being the type of woman you want to become. And that you have a lot more control over your life than what you think you do. Of course, when we're children, if you're in high school, middle school, all of that, you don't really have a choice on who you're around because you're going through the formative years. So you got to deal with some things. That builds character. But when you become an adult and you have a choice over who and what you deal with, you become very selective and you develop that mindset that I don't want to deal with this type of person. I don't like that vibe. I don't like this. And that's okay. I think as women, we have to be okay saying what and who we don't like. And I'm not saying that you have to walk around saying, oh, I don't like her. That's ghetto. Like, we don't do that. I'm saying that you should be selective when it comes to your friendships, your relationships with men, and your career choices, as well as your environment. And I know for some people, the environment part, it takes money to move out of different areas if you're going to go into a better area. But those are things that you can work on. The way I see life now, and I didn't always see it that way, I see it as if every opportunity you get is an opportunity to do something better with your life. As feminine women, we should always be focused on our self-development. We are not content with just being, just the same way we've always been. Like, we are always looking to develop as women. That's just the way I see it. So every opportunity you get, every new day is an opportunity for you to better yourself. But if you live in an environment or you're around people who make you feel weird, as if bettering yourself is some way a negative, you might need to get out of that environment. So how does that tie into jealousy and envy? When people are constantly trying to hold you back from being better, from doing better for yourself, that is a way to determine that somebody is essentially jealous of you, or somebody might be a little bit, some people are afraid of your potential. If you talk too big, some people will look as if you're doing too much. I don't like being around people like that. I just have to say it. And you got some people, and I saw this in the comments. Yes, my environment, I definitely in to move away. Say it louder for the people in the back. Look, it's like I definitely believe your environment, and not just the physical environment, but the people in it. The way they talk, the way they act. Started team driving, and the girl has lean girl. Watch your vibes. Mean Girl. I'm guessing you mean Mean Girl watching vibes. Yeah, it's like you just have to really check the energy of other people, and you don't copy that, because I've done a video about not copying the energy of other people. That's what I thought you meant, present moment, Mean Girl. Yeah, it's like we don't like that. As feminine women, like, I can speak for myself, but the overall traits, one of the traits of a feminine woman is that she thrives where there is peace, where there is, peaceful coexistence, where everybody is just chill, everybody's just laid back. I'm not saying it's going to be like these kumbaya moments where we're all, that I'm not talking about that kind of thing. I mean, where at least people know how to just mind their business. Like, if you don't necessarily, because I think for women, especially, let's say, a work environment, we've been around other people where we don't necessarily, on a personal level, we might not really judge with them. Like, if we weren't at work, we wouldn't talk to them. But at least you're able to peacefully coexist there, because, okay, her personality is a little off, but, we have moments where we can laugh. We have moments where we can joke, you know, that kind of thing. I choose peace, my new motto. Absolutely, you have to choose peace. And why women today don't choose peace, I don't understand. It's like the argumentative nature of many modern women. I think that's a lot of the reason why the perceived image of women is the way it is, because so many women are so argumentative, and they're so, problematic, as in they fight battles that nobody invited them to. Like, if you're a woman, for me, just the way I see it, and the divine nature of how God created a woman to be, yes, being cordial, exuding maturity. Exactly. Like, you might know for a fact, that person I have, look, real story. I've worked with people an entire shift. And once I see them, maybe on the train, they're down there, I'm down there, no more conversation. Like, we were fine at work. If you walk past me, of course, they'll smile, but no more conversation needs to be had, because we're not friends. We're not, we just was cordial because we were in a closed space for 7 or 8 hours. And that's maturity. But the immature woman, the woman who's argumentative and problematic, I didn't like her vibe. I didn't like her energy. I don't like that. Like, and then they start picking, and all of a sudden you have these issues where there was no issue if you would have just minded your business and let the girl be. Like, I choose peace as well, but something. Why are my comments going away so fast? I just got a new iPad, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to keep the comments up there as I'm talking. So I apologize if I don't get to your comment. I have noticed a difference in how people interact with me. God has given me a peace beyond understanding. Absolutely. And for me, that is where it starts. When you have the peace of God, it's very little, or it takes a lot to really rattle you. It takes a lot for you to really go there, with someone. For me, I am so focused on living the type of life that I know I want to live and that God wants me to live, that I don't have time to have little petty arguments or bickering or grudges or any of that kind of stuff. And I definitely don't have time to scrutinize another stranger or give a nasty attitude to a stranger. Like, that's just so unbecoming for a woman. I think I read in one of your comments in the video that I just recently posted that you were in the supermarket and somebody actually tried to hit you with a cart, or she was like deliberately trying to get in your way. Like, as women, why are we like this? It's like, why do you not, like, when you see another woman happy or too happy, it bothers you. Like, I don't understand. Like, I've literally been in the store with my husband and we're laughing about something or whatever, and a woman will walk by and just roll her eyes, or I'm just like, what is that? Like, why do you even care about me? Like, like, why? I've never, and I think even when I wasn't the way that I am now, I have never been that way toward another woman. Like, And I think part of that is because I just focus on myself, but I've never looked at another woman with disgust and said, I don't like her. Like, just because. Like, it was always tied to something that was done to me or said to me. Like, if somebody says something smart, then naturally, I'm responding to that. But I've never been the type of woman to come into the presence of another woman and just say, or just roll my eyes. Like, that's so not great for a woman. I just can't even think of the word. How are you feeling today? I am feeling great, Hubs. What are you doing? I am feeling good. And come get me. I'm so sorry. My husband is texting me. You have to earn my energy. I mean, like, really, and I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but I mean, if you mean what I think you mean, as in there has to be a reason for me to respond to you, then I absolutely agree. Like, I don't just give my energy away freely. I used to be so critical of others until I started developing my relationship with God. Yes, and for me, when you have a relationship with God, you don't scrutinize others. It's not about that. It's about understanding the difference. And I love secure women with strong personalities. Yes, when you are a strong woman, not strong like modern day strong, when you are strong minded, when you have that confidence and self esteem about yourself where you don't care if, let's say, Beyonce walks in the room. And yes, Beyonce is beautiful, but you don't feel any less like you're less than because you're next to her. And I know that's an extreme example for many people, but you really have to have that kind of confidence as a woman. And more so because you're dealing with people. And let's just be real. This is real girl chat for a moment. Some of the people who like to scrutinize and put down other women, they absolutely deal with some of the most craziest things. I mean, half of the time, it's been my experience, especially as a teenager. Some of the women who scrutinized me, or the young girls that scrutinized me the most, they were the ones who were kicked out of school. They was about 5 months pregnant in the fifth grade. And those kind of things kind of speaks for itself. Not quite fifth grade, eighth or ninth grade, but those situations kind of speak for themselves because of what they were going through. And because sometimes when people, they made decisions that caused their life to go a different direction, they have to blame somebody other than themselves. Like, they can't be accountable for anything, so naturally it has to be somebody else's fault, or they have to take out their frustration about their own life on somebody else. And my thing is, I always like, I didn't do it to you. It wasn't me. I didn't do it, you know? And I think as women, in order to even avoid, or to be avoiding interactions that are, uncomfortable, that make you feel like you have to be on the defensive, just stay away from people. If you pick up on hints of jealousy, envy, you know, undercover, like, haters, frenemies, I don't do frenemies. Either you're my friend or you're not. But, I don't want to feel like I'm stumbling all over my words here, but I hope you all understand what I'm trying to relay here, because it's just been too much happening with women. And even our older women, and while we respect, or should respect, our elders are now like 40, you know? So, and I think that's another issue, because we don't have too many elders with the elder mindset that can really teach women and show women that, that's kind of messy what you're doing. We have a generation where it's like the older women are trying to be like the younger women, and because of that, they're not really letting them know, like, you're being a hater, you're mistreating this person, you shouldn't treat them that way. The majority of the time, people, particularly women, project their own insecurities into other women. Exactly. And that's why I put that video out saying, I'm an elder. Jesus. LOL. Miss Tammy, I appreciate you. And when I say elder, I'm not saying it in a disrespectful way, because you're supposed to honor and revere your elders. And they offer you wisdom, should be able to offer you some type of wisdom. And you're here, so this does not apply to you. I want you to understand that. Okay? 45. Oh, yes. Okay, so you're proving my point of what I was saying. Yes, you're not elderly, not at all. But I made that comment because grandparents, people are becoming grandparents at 40, 45, 50. And I know things are different now and all of that, but we used to have like the 50 somethings, 60 somethings, 70 somethings. And of course, this doesn't go for all people. But a lot of what you see on TV and all of that, especially with the Real Housewives and all this different kind of stuff, you have people who should know better. They're acting just as bad as the younger people. That was my point, Tammy, okay? I hope you get it. That was my point. That, people who should know better, they're not really acting like they know better. So there's really not too many examples. That's my point. But yes, as women, we really, really just focus on our self development and not allow people to get into your head, because when you allow people to get into your head, you just pass over that bitterness, that jealousy to other people. And why make other people unhappy because you're unhappy with your own life? You know what I mean? So I don't want this live to go out too long. I'm actually about to leave out for a few moments, but I appreciate you all. We are almost at 5,000 subscribers, and this happened within the course of 2 days. So I absolutely appreciate. I started seeing some. I lost your comment, Tam. If you don't mind doing it again or typing it again, or I'll go back and read it. But I appreciate you all, and as this community continues to grow and thrives, thanks for being so real and speaking facts. Oh, thank you, Smiley. I'm so glad that you're here. And I just pass on to you all either what I have learned, what I'm learning, and just, tidbits of wisdom that I learned along the way, and just being a woman. Many of us go through some of the same things and we think we're alone, and we are absolutely not. Okay? So, lastly, I have a book, and I should have said this in the beginning. I have two books: How to Be a Feminine Woman, The Blueprint. That's on Amazon in ebook form and paperback. And then How to Detox from Toxic People. That is also on Amazon in ebook form and paperback. They're both about $9. So I would encourage you. You came to my algorithm right when I needed you. Beautiful delivery and lessons. Oh, wonderful. You're so sweet. And I'm so glad that you are here and that you're getting value out of this. I appreciate that. So get the books. If you haven't done so already, I encourage you to do so. It's not just about making a sale for me, but it's because the information in those books, I really truly believe, will help to encourage you all to be the type of women you would like to be. All right? And you are probably already fabulous women, but we can always work on our self-development as women. All right? Like, subscribe, and share the content. I absolutely appreciate you all. Take care.